Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at VECHAIN. This is going to be a lower time frame video. We do have a higher time frame video up above, so check that out if that's more what you're interested in. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so in the previous video, what we were looking for was that potential of having a 5-wave move to the upside. So I'm going to come in here onto the 1 hourly. And what we were saying effectively was this was 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're saying that we could be looking for this additional 4th and a 5th. So this option is still possible as long as we actually look to play out to the upside from this point. The problem is that within the structure here, it's already looking very unlikely that this is going to play out. The only way that I could see this playing out now is if we get something along these lines where actually what we have here is this move over here as a wave 1. We'd be looking for this as a wave 2, and then we'd be looking for some kind of a diagonal pattern to play out here where effectively we look for a contracting wedge shape to the upside here, which could potentially still look to target up this higher level here. The problem is, like I said, it's looking really unreliable here because the structure to the upside is not looking good. So if this is the case, what this could mean is that actually further back here, looking at this count slightly different, as we talked about in the previous video, we could just argue that this is 1, 2, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is our 4th wave, and then effectively this would be our 5th wave here. So if this is the case, what this could actually be calling for within this next move is that we are looking for a bigger B wave. So in this case, what we're looking for is that possibility of price coming down one more time here, looking to push us down towards the zone of this 382 to the 786, which is sitting here between the 01698 to the 01439 as a possible B wave target. Now, the way that I'd be looking at this effectively would be that this is our A wave, this is our B wave, and we're looking for this C wave to the downside. So currently 1-to-1 off this high would effectively put us down into the 1691 level, which would be aligning with the 0.382 higher up here. Now, it is always possible that this move could break down and start to push down into some of these lower levels. This 50% would be quite an interesting zone, as we do have some potentials of swing failing some of these areas and back testing this bit of structure. So if we do see price continue to push to the downside in the C wave, possibly we could see this move down this way. Now, it is also possible that within the structure, things could start to get a bit more complex here and this B wave might not be done, in which case what we could see is a additional push to the upside here. Now, if we are looking at this, we've already come up to the 786, so I wouldn't really want to go too much higher than that. What I'd be looking for as a possible target here, 1-to-1 would actually look to put us back above this high, but what I'm thinking is that this move here, I'm currently counting as a 5-wave structure where this becomes 1, 2, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 into this area, and an additional 4th and 5th. So that means we got this as a 3-wave move to the upside. Now, what I would be rather looking for is that if we do look to push up here one more time, possibly what we could see as a retest here, if we're going to be looking for that continuation for that downside, is possibly just moving up in a smaller way here towards this 02073. So this would mean that we would have to get a truncation here within this count to the upside, because if we do move towards this 1-to-1, then we can't look at this as a wave anymore in the sense of a 5-wave structure. Now, it is always possible that, you know, there's a couple of ways we can look at this structure. We could also argue this is something like ABC into here. This is an X wave and we get another ABC, in which case what we could actually see is price could still technically push towards this 2158 area, and that would just be looking at this as A, B, C, and this would just be looking at a bigger flat correction, which would mean we'd get a 5-wave structure to the downside after completion. Now, that would work if we're looking for this idea of coming back to this 382 and this 50%, because that would be a common zone that we'd actually look for as a retracement for these two. So this is why I'm saying, yeah, we need to be on the lookout that this if we do push down for the C wave, this is quite a common target for this. Now, one thing we do need to just be a little bit cautious of here is that if we do start to break down in a bigger way, now I can't see it currently in the structure that we have over here. This is looking just very corrective at the moment, but if we do form something like this, where this is actually a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we form something like a 3-way move to the downside here, forming a contracting diagonal here, what this could mean is we could see a 3-wave move up and then start to break down in a bigger way here. So really the key level here, if we need to invalidate, if we're looking for any kind of a diagonal, is this high over here. The problem is if we do get a diagonal like this, what this could then set us up for is that idea of getting a bigger 5-wave move to the downside. Now 1-to-1 would be fine. If we do, however, start to push down towards a 0.1527, this would then align with the idea that this could actually be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now if we do get something like this, because of the fact that I would have preferred still to see that 4th and a 5th, and we haven't quite got that yet, we just need to be careful this is not a corrective structure to the upside here in just a 3-wave move, in which what we could actually see is that if I come back out here onto the 4-hourly, what we could see is that this move could still be potentially something like this, where this is an A, this is a B, and then we start to get a C wave to the downside. So I'm just being cautious of this idea that we could still see a C wave down here towards this 0.1258 to this 1-to-1 level. So if we do start to see 5 waves developing to the downside here, it's more probable that we're going to be seeing this C wave look to play out. Though at the moment, as long as we hold this low point here, I'm still looking for that possibility that within this structure, we're still looking for something like a C wave to the upside, where what we're looking for here effectively is this whole move to become a wave 1. We get a wave 2, 3, 4, and a 5. And then look at this whole structure from further back here as a bigger A, a B, and then we're looking for this as a corrective C wave to the upside. Now, the key thing is here, if we do get a 5-wave move up in this manner, what we need to see if we want to say that this is not a flat correction is a 3-wave move down, holding these lows, and then seeing price push to the upside here in a bigger way. So that's going to be the key thing that we need to see here if we want to invalidate the idea that this C wave is then going to complete and we're going to break down past these lows. So that's going to be important moving on from this point. So in the shorter term here, like I said, don't think it's likely this is going to turn into that 5th wave, but it always can do. Possibly we could get something like this, where this forms some kind of a contracting diagonal to the upside here, where we're still looking for that 5th wave target towards this 23.64 to this 22.14, but it is looking more likely to me that, you know, this is possibly just a completed move here, and this is beginning a retracement to the downside here, looking for one of those lower target levels. Having a look at the daily CPR here, what we can see is that we've currently lost these central lines here. Now, if we do maintain below this level, we need to be careful because we do have downside targets for today at this 18.99. We have this 18.55, 18.20, and this 17.76. Now, if we do see price start to break down in this way, this could align with that idea that we're starting to break down in some kind of a extension here, where either this is ABC and then we look to reverse, or this becomes 1, 2, and then we get some kind of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this level, in this area, looking for this developing as an impulse. But I can't really see it from the current structure that we have here. It is very overlapping and is looking very corrective. So I would still say that is probably just a corrective move. If, however, we do manage to actually get a reversal here and we get back above these CPR lines here, what we could see is that price could actually be gravitated to one of these higher targets here, this 1977. We have this 2013, which would be interesting coming into these highs. We do have this level here of this 2057 and this area of this 2092 as possible targets to the upside for today. Now, moving over and looking at the weekly, we have some new weekly CPR lines here. We can see here that we are currently in this zone here of our central lines. Now, this is also sitting within the previous area here, so this could be indicating that we could start to see, or that we could see price just continue to range within this previous range that we've got here. So possibly just see, you know, move down back into these lows or something like this. But the fact is the spread on these has actually gotten quite tight here. So this could also indicate that we could start to see price have some volatility. Now, we don't know whether this is to the upside or to the downside. If we start to lose these levels here, then possibly the downside targets could come into play here towards this 1806. We have this 1671 and this lower level here of this 1551. If, however, we do manage to get back above these and continue to stay in this area, possibly we could see price move towards this 2058. We have this 2075 and this 2309 as possible upside targets for this week. Having a look at the monthly here, what we can see is that we are also still currently above these central CPR lines. Now, if we are looking at this area over here, we do have potential support that could come in at this 1873. We have this 1778 and this 1682, all as potential areas that we could look to find support. Now, this lower line here would align with something like this as a corrective structure, potentially into that 0.382. So going to be keeping an eye on that. As well as that, if we do see price just come down towards this higher line, what we could see is price could still potentially look to travel up towards this 2238, which would align with that idea of that fifth wave still. So, you know, I'm still keeping an eye on this to see whether we get something like a diagonal develop to the upside here, but it's not my primary expectation at this point. Now, other targets to the upside would be this 2505 and this 2965 as potential upside targets. If, however, we start to lose these lines here, and like we were saying, you know, possibly this is just a corrective move to the upside and we start to break down in a bigger way, possibly what we could see is this 1513 come into play during this month, this 1054, and we also have this lower level here of this 784 lower down here. So going to be looking out at these targets if we do see price starting to move in that direction. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out, it's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.